take a moment. Picture your dog laying down, you sitting down with them, and you put your hands on their back and begin to massage. They stretch out, maybe they groan a little bit, and they thoroughly enjoy your touch. And then imagine watching your dog get up and move with a little bit more ease and a little bit more comfort. It's time to get our hands on our dogs. This is the lesson you've been waiting for. Are you ready? We are going to learn the strokes for massaging your dog with low back pain. Thank you so much for being here. This is the third lesson in our audio series on how to massage your dog with low back pain. I'm trying to keep my voice low and calm, even though I'm really excited for you to begin to massage your dog. You've probably already gone through the PDF, but if you haven't, I do recommend going through the 4 strokes. Take a look at those pictures, read through it, and then set the paper down and let your dog and myself be your guides. Follow along with my voice as I do my best to guide you step by step. As a canine rehab therapist, I have a lot of experience teaching pet parents these techniques, and you can always refer to the paper if you need it. It's best to connect with your dog, your breath, and just listen as we move forward. You know more than you think you do. In our previous lessons, we worked on setting everything up, including you, the environment, and your dog, and we talked about pressure, and you practiced on yourself. Sink in nice and slow, taking your time, being very connected to your own breathing and how your body is feeling, because you transfer that energy to your dog when you touch them. So you want to take a moment to be present and not rush this. And if you're a little bit short on time, that's okay. This entire audio lesson is less than 25 minutes. But if you still need to keep it shorter, I recommend doing the first 2 strokes. That second stroke is the same stroke you're going to be finishing with, so you can simply close after that stroke, taking a couple breaths and thanking your dog for their participation. And on the flip side, you are welcome to take as much time as you need and pause this audio wherever you need to take a moment to continue with that stroke a little bit longer. However, I do have a little surprise for you that I'm going to let you know about towards the end of the lesson. I'm really excited. Okay. So at this point, you're going to pause the audio and review the PDF, and I'll be here when you come back. And welcome back. Let's get started getting our hands on our dogs, and we're starting with passive touch. No movement. Take another big breath in through your nose and sigh through your mouth. Make it audible. That audible sigh sometimes also will help your dog relax. We want you to be comfortable so that your dog is comfortable. If this is new for you and new for your dog might be a little bit leery at first. They might get up and they might move away. That's okay. Don't be upset if that happens. Give them a moment. Give yourself a moment, take a breath in, make it audible, and then you can gently bring them back and try again. It might be an indicator that you just need to lighten your touch. If your dog starts to look at you really leery or they're licking your hand, that might also be a sign that they're a little bit uncomfortable. Again, lightening the touch or moving to another part of their back might be needed. As I'm preparing to massage my dog, I do talk to them. You want to lower your voice when you're trying to help them relax, and you're trying to help yourself relax as well, right? Sometimes we talk in a voice where our voice goes up, even though it's quiet. You want more Bob Marley from our previous lesson. You want a soothing voice, a slower voice. You're bringing your energy down a little bit. You're bringing your body down and you're bringing your voice down, all in preparation for this massage. And as I talk to my dog, I might give her a little scratch behind the ear and let her know that we're going to do a little massage before proceeding. Okay, Depending on the size of your dog, you're going to place your hands at the base of the neck and at the pelvis area or somewhere within that vicinity. And you're just resting your hands here as if you were resting them on the counter. If you have a little dog, you may just need one hand. You want to take your other hand though and have it somewhere placed on your dog so that there's a little bit more of a connection and that it helps for the dog to relax. Good. Take a breath in and breathe out slowly. This passive touch is listening to what your dog's body is telling you through touch. And you're just relaxing here. If your dog is a little unsure, you may shift your hands a little bit. And you're staying connected to your own breath. Notice any sensations you may feel. As you're noticing, don't go looking though. You're connecting and feeling. This is a really nice way to prepare your dog's body for the upcoming massage. And from here, we're going to begin to make some small movements with our hands in a rocking or circular motion. We're not kneading. It's almost like if you had a cloth and you were just wiping the cloth over the counter. Little movements. This helps to unstick the skin from the tissues beneath it. Good. There's no specific direction that you're going here. You're letting the dog's body guide you in little movements. If you have a larger dog, it's okay at this point to also take one hand and move it a little bit down to another spot, and then the other hand comes down to join. Good. Maybe you're rocking slowly forward and backward. Small circles. Continuing to move down the body. Noticing your breath, keeping your hands relaxed, palms open, fingers relaxed. And stay here for another moment. And if your dog is a little bit uncertain, again, you can move to a different point on their back, coming in gently, making small movements. Take a moment to notice if there are any spots that seem particularly sticky or different from the other areas as you're working down your dog's back. In a moment, we're going to move on to our next stroke. You're welcome to hit pause and stay here a little bit longer. I know I put a worksheet in the PDF for you. If you are stopping now, then fill out the worksheet. But if you're continuing along, then just stay connected to your dog, breathing, and you can always go back and take some notes afterwards. You're also welcome to hit pause and continue with this technique for as long as you like, and then returning to the audio when you're ready. All right. So we are going to move on to more of these long strokes coming down our dog's back. And this is what's called an effleurage technique. It's really meant to help increase blood flow and reduce sensitivity. We're going to start up by the shoulder blades at the base of your dog's neck, working your way down your dog's back. In the PDF, I was massaging a big dog, so I was placing myself closer to his hind end and working down one side of his back in a hand over hand motion with open palms and relaxed fingers. If you have a smaller dog, or if you're in a position where your dog might be resting against the wall, so you're kneeling more in front of them, this might not be possible. So you may want to have your hand a little bit more cupped, and you're running your hands down your dog's back, getting either side of the spine, but not putting pressure directly onto the bony bumps along the midline there. And again, you can be hand over hand, or both of your hands might move together. And as you get towards the end of your dog, your other hand comes back up by the shoulders, and you continue in this kind of hand over hand movement that's nice and slow so that you always have one hand on your dog. Again, staying connected to your breath and your own relaxation. Move slowly. Don't move too quick here. We want to be a little bit more pressure than we had when we were just moving the skin, but not very much. You're just sinking in gently. All right. If you notice that your dog is a little bit sensitive in a certain part of their back, or you just want to get a little bit more used to massaging your dog, you may want to stay with this stroke for a little bit longer, for a couple sessions. And in that case, you're going to jump ahead to the closing. Otherwise, we're going to move on to our next stroke. And our next stroke is called a longitudinal stretch. For this technique, you want to have yourself positioned more towards the rear of your dog versus the head. And let's take a moment again to landmark finding your dog's rib cage area, and then moving up towards the spine from this rib cage area. This is the low back region. Remember that transition point is a very sensitive point between what's called the thoracic spine and the lumbar spine. So where the rib cage ends and the low back begins can be a little bit sensitive. As you do this technique, you may move through your dog's entire back, or you may just want to stay with the lower back. We're going to take a moment as well to review where those epaxial muscles are. Finding your dog's spine, the midline of their back. You're going to be about a finger width off that spine. In our bigger dogs, you're about 2 finger widths off. You should be in a muscly kind of area along the back. And again, you need to be positioned more towards the rear of your dog so that you're drawing the tissues downward versus trying to push them down. Or you can be positioned towards the rear of your dog, but if you're kneeling, like my dog's usually up against a wall in her dog bed when I do this, then I'm more in front of her in a kneeling position when I'm doing this. And using either the thumb pad or your finger pads, the broadest part, you're going to sink in just a little bit more than you did in the previous stroke, and slowly work your way down your dog's back, staying on one side of the spine, or you can use both hands and go down the back at the same time on either side of the spine. I like to start with one side and then do a gentle stroke like we did before, just a long, relaxing stroke before I move to the other side. That way, if your dog is sensitive on one side and not the other, you're going to notice and you're going to be able to adjust appropriately. As you're switching up your stroke here, it's good to always have one hand remaining on your dog. If I lift both of my hands off my dog when I'm massaging her and then come back down to do the stroke again, she kind of looks at me like, what are you doing? So you do want to take your time here and always have one hand connected, have that connection with your dog. And it's okay to mix in a little of the previous stroke in between some of these deeper strokes. These strokes are a little bit more pressure, but still gentle, just gentle and firm as you go down each side of your dog's back using the broadest part of your either thumb pad or your finger pads. And if you have a dog that's in a wheelchair, you might do a little bit of this in a wheelchair or when they're standing over a peanut. If you have a little dog, do make sure that you're supporting them under the belly and be really observant of how your dog is reacting to your touch. And if they're moving away or if they are getting a lot of twitching, then again, lighten up your pressure. And we're going to get ready to move on to our next stroke. Don't worry right now about your handout and making sure that you're filling out your homework. Unless you're stopping at this point, then you can do that. But otherwise, again, stay with the breath, stay connected to your dog. And in the next stroke, we're going to do a thumb over thumb technique where we're compressing the tissues a little bit more, drawing them down, and then gently releasing them, helping again to get some of that tension out of the muscles, those deeper muscles here. However, this technique should not be so deep that it elicits pain that it makes your dog uncomfortable. So be sure to adjust appropriately. We're going to be targeting those apaxial muscles, those big muscles on either side of the spine, making kind of a V with our thumb, sinking one thumb in and pressing down, dragging it down a little bit towards the tail. And when you get some resistance, your other thumb is coming in just above that thumb, pressing down and dragging down. You're moving slowly, thumb presses down. The muscle pulls down a little bit, and as you begin to get some tension there, your other thumb is going to gently sink in, coming down your dog's back. It's thumb, drag, next thumb presses down, your first thumb releases. Thumb over thumb. And notice again, if your dog is twitching or a little bit uncomfortable, you may want to lighten your touch a little bit. You might need to go back to your previous stroke. We're moving down one side of a dog's back. And if you have access to the other side, you're going to get the other side as well. Thumb over thumb, connecting to your breath. Reading your dog's reaction, adjusting your pressure if your dog is twitching a lot or seems uncomfortable. And if they're a little bit uncomfortable, you can even move back to that previous long stroke where we had a very light touch and we were just drawing the hands down the back for a couple strokes and then mixing in this thumb, sinking in, moving down the back. And you might mix a little bit of that longitudinal stretch in there as well, where you can use your finger pads or that thumb and just draw slowly all the way down the back. And then thumb over thumb. You're beginning to get a sense of what does your dog need? What would be best? Do you need to stay with that lighter touch? Do you need to work on pulling those tissues down to help release the tension? Do they like the thumb over thumb? Breathe. Take a big breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Once you've gone down each side of your dog's back, we're going to begin to move into our closing. We're going to be on one side of the spine for this, and again moving from the head towards the tail, so you do want to be positioned so that you're closer to your dog's hind end versus right over him in the middle of his back or her back. As we begin to shift into the closing, keep your hands on your dog. Stay connected to your own breath. Make some long, slow, gentle sweeping strokes again. I like to start these right up by the neck and very gently coming down towards the tail, thanking them for participating. Rest your hands one more time on their back. And as you finish up here, you may just want to sit and share the space with your dog for a few minutes. Don't rush off. This concludes lesson 3 in our 3-part audio series on massaging your dog with low back pain. Thank you again for your participation. I loved sharing these audio lessons with you. And one more thing. Congratulations, you did it. I'm super proud of you for staying the course, for practicing and being committed to helping your dog move better and feel better. I know that you're really excited. Many of you have reached out and expressed an interest in learning more. I want you to know that this isn't the end. These techniques, they're just a glimpse of what you can do. In my next email, there is another email coming. In my next email, I'm going to have a video that is going to tell you about this new workshop series I have planned for you. I'm really excited about it. It's a really unique format, and I want to keep the momentum going that we've generated here and answer any questions you have. So I plan to start this workshop series really soon, which is why it's really important that when you get that email that you open it up and click through the video right away, because the registration is only going to be open for a short period of time so we can get started. And for those listening to this on Dogs That Can, make sure that you sign up for the email. The link is in the show notes. You don't want to miss this. And until then, go back through your PDF and make some notes from this experience. And I just want to say one more time that I really am proud of you. Thank you so much for being here and doing all that you do to help your dog. You got this. Oh yeah, one more thing. This is meant to be educational and help you feel empowered to help your dog. It is not intended in any way to replace any medical advice that you're given by your veterinarian, your rehab therapist, or another qualified professional.